I want to make a statement at the start of the show, so here we go. The racist agenda is clear, and it's sad that some who have huge and influential voices and big platforms in this country cannot see it. One thing I will say is that for people to criticise using the terms the media and the press, I think that's lazy. Be specific. Those terms are nebulous. It's not the whole of the press. It's not everyone in the media. The media is not one person. TalkSport, for example, is not one person. I don't share the same views as Alan Brazil, for example. I've done shows with Piers Morgan. I don't agree with everything Piers says. Now, I've spoken about the racist agenda against Sterling in the past, and it's been dismissed mainly by white men, and that's what you'll have seen since Saturday evening as well. White men claiming that the fan at Chelsea said mank instead of black. Well, they're trying to twist the truth for a reason. The first step for any racist is to deny that racism exists. Now, the abuse, for me, is racist. Sterling's from Jamaica. He came to England at a very young age. He's done incredibly well for himself because of his talent and dedication. Now, there's several questions need to be asked here. I'd ask, why is he picked on, but another black England player, for example, Rashford, isn't? Because Sterling didn't stay with QPR. He didn't stay with Liverpool. The way he left Liverpool, according to some, he wasn't born in England. All those reasons. Rashford is still with the club where he was born. They have different stories. The hate for Sterling is clear. The undercurrent is very racist. Rashford won't get it because his career so far fits into the perceived pattern the racist white man thinks he can demand. Now, white man can't throw racist labels at Rashford, so they leave him alone. They can throw them unfairly at Sterling, so he gets it. Now, I remember being critical, you'll remember this, Darren, I remember being critical of Aguero for going to Holland for a gig. He was involved in a car crash, now it was mid-season. Now, I was shouted down for that. It was a non-story, I was told. Had it been Sterling, can you imagine the headlines? So what's the difference between the two players? One's white, one's black. Let's stick with Aguero. Pep has improved his work rate, his all-round game, his running stats, defending from the front, all of that stuff has improved. But before Pep arrived, Aguero was never once called lazy by any pundit. Yet Lukaku is constantly labelled lazy. What's the difference between the two? One's black, one's white. The words, here's the important thing for me, right? The words we use are important, especially those of us writing or broadcasting in the media. There's a negative narrative, and the derogatory words towards Sterling in the past should have been thought through before being used. Now, there's a confusion for some white people as well, but only because they don't spend time thinking about the issue. Sometimes there are racists. Now, those white people who think those with brown skin are inferior. They are just downright racists. These people need to be educated. Some of them need to be jailed. Now, I'm a white man. I understand how unconscious racist thoughts happen. Let me explain. I'll give you an example. When I was growing up as a boy in the 1970s in a very multicultural city, there was one older member of my family who, instead of saying someone had stolen something, he would use another term. He would use a 3-letter racist term beginning with W. He'd make it into a verb. I had no idea what it meant. I just thought it was a genuine word in the dictionary. Now, at the age of 10, I saw a kid called Naranjan Patel in my school being beaten up by 4 white kids in the cloakroom because he had brown skin. A teacher arrived, saved him from too much physical harm, but in the middle of the aggression, the W word was used. Only then did I realise what my relative had done, how he'd twisted that word to become racist. He was trying to say, all black people steal things. This was the culture back then. It's what some of us grew up with. Brown-skinned people being labelled as criminals. Brown-skinned people being beaten up. This was normalised. It was normal thinking. Not everyone got out of that mode of thinking either. In recent years, look at the amount of people who said if they saw an Asian with a rucksack on the tube, they'd get off that tube train. Now, these people, it's their duty to think about how they speak and what they say. If you think a player is lazy, consider the consequences of saying that publicly. You're feeding a racist narrative with those words. You're fueling their hate with those words. Think about what you're going to say. The words are important, and the words used by some in the media sometimes end up going through the wrong ears, into ill-educated heads, and repeated through racist mouths. Every single one of us in the media has a duty. We're trying to change what's been happening for centuries. Slavery, apartheid, the Ku Klux Klan, murder of Stephen Lawrence, monkey chants and bananas. So whilst calling a black player lazy might on the face of it seem fair enough, it actually isn't. We have to think about the words we use. I'd urge everyone to think about what they're saying, why they're saying it. And I, for one, I cannot wait for the day Raheem Sterling is made England captain. I hope it's coming very, very soon. As an Englishman, I will feel so proud that someone who's come through hardship, through racism and unspeakable hate is leading my country. Now, at the same time, I will say this. There's a black actor, you know about this, Darren, this happened to me. A black actor once labelled me racist on Twitter for saying I thought Tyson Fury would beat Anthony Joshua if they got in the ring together. Now, it's not racist in any way. This is trivialising racism, which is the last thing such an important issue needs. And then we get onto the subject of the hate in football. Why is there so much venom spat out at football and on social media when football is concerned? It's tribal. Some of it is alcohol-fueled. I get all of that. But think about when you're spitting out this vile hate. Think about your mum. Think about your grandmother. Would they want to see you being so vile? Don't you want to make them proud? Think about your kids and your grandchildren. Do you want them to see you barking out hate and abuse at another human being simply because he doesn't play football for your team? Can you see how stupid it is? It's one thing wanting the opposition to lose, but by attempting to dehumanise them, you're actually dehumanising yourself. Look at yourself and look at what you've become.